Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Scooble shoves. The Mets are back. Kansas City and Fernando Higgy. Baseball's here. Let's talk about it. Playoffs?
Yankees got fleeced. Higgy.
Jesse Chavez.
No, should have started off.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. The playoffs are here. And to celebrate, SeatGeek is giving you a special offer. John Boy Playoffs 10. John Boy Playoffs 10. 10% off, whether or not you're a first-time buyer or not. And what you could do, even if you're not buying tickets to something right now, you can just add the code and it saves it. And you get 10% whenever you want. Kind of a nice feature. Like the geeks figured something out here.
The computers remember you, huh?
There's going to be a lot of talk about the geeks today. Code JohnBoyPlayoffs, 10% off at SeatGeek. Click the link in the description. Trevor Plouffe, my good man. A big day of baseball. I mean, a couple of these games kind of went to the script, which is fun. A couple of these games didn't go to the script, which is just as fun. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, it's a long day of baseball sitting around watching, but also very fun. I thought the games had pace to them for the most part. I think they all kind of went to the script. It just depended on whose script you were reading, Pop.
Oh, okay.
I think game one, we're going to get into it, but Detroit, that was about as to the script as you could get right there. But yeah, there was some things. I definitely want to hear your burns. I want to talk about it. Matt Vierling.
Hot. Let's get into it. Let's do it. We're a Cron pod. We always have been. So we will start with Detroit and the Houston Astros. Oh. The Detroit Kitties would head down to Houston to go scuba diving with Cy Young winner Tarek on the mound. And there would be a Framber alert out for runs as Valdez and the Astros are back playing October baseball. Top two, it's Captain America, Jake Rogers. 3-0 swing and RBI single. And then Trey Sidney Sweeney knockers one in. And Trev's Matt Vierling makes it 3-0 Tigers. Cy Skubal lived up to the trophy. 6 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 6 Ks. Will Vest puts him in a straitjacket, but in the ninth, the Astros have the winning run on, and they are getting frisky, but so is Bo Brisky. Hayward lines out. Exhale, Tigers fans. Tigers survive Game 1, 3-1 final.
Who's Sidney Sweeney?
Yeah, you know. I know you know. Not making all those Hawk Tua references without. Trev, like you said, this one, we do a lot of these episodes, and it's you can't script baseball, and they lost 2 or 3, and that's how it goes. Detroit needed this one. Skubal, the Cy Young winner in Houston, he had to be that guy. He was that guy. Framber, who it was interesting to get the reminder that last postseason, he did have a tough go a little bit. I thought it was interesting the way Espada and kind of the Astros were acting kind of throughout this game with some of the pitching decisions. But, man, they went Skubal to Will Vest, who every postseason now we're going to see that reliever who's on at the right time. He seemed like that guy. And yet, as I'm saying, we had the script, Trev. We're a Jason Hayward launch angle away from being 4-3 ball down the line, walk-off Astros. So what did you see in this one?
I thought it was the dominant Skubal stuff. He was filling up the strike zone. I think that's what I saw mostly.
Yes.
He wasn't letting the Astros catch their breath. I mean, it was just, here it is. If you can hit it, it's going to be a strike. So you better swing at it. The Astros, did have a few quick innings where they were trying to be aggressive to him because they understand you can't get behind on this guy. At the same time, he wasn't leaving stuff over the plate. Plus, he has dominant stuff. I mean, this was just Skubal doing his thing. 6 Ks on the day, but a lot of soft contact. He had some quick innings. On the other side, Framber, who's obviously no slouch himself. This is one of our favorite pitchers, a talking baseball legend. He didn't have location. He was missing. I thought the Tigers had some really good takes against him. I don't know what was going on. Their approach was like incredible. A lot of just speaking of Hawk Tua, a lot of spitting on it. A lot of spitting on some close pitches, and it forced Framber into the zone. And then the sinker was just up, and he got hit, man. Like they were putting good at bats, not trying to do too much because you can't do that against Framber. That's when guys get in trouble against a guy like that. I just think typically with Framber, the tunneling is there, and it wasn't. It was like they were seeing the ball each pitch differently out of his hand, and typically with Framber, you don't get that. That you're going to get. He elicits a lot of bad swings. He didn't do that today, and whether that's just the Tigers being on their game and having a great approach, I'm not really sure. I think it was a combination of both of them having a good game plan, and then Framber, he just didn't have location today.
Yeah, it was, Framber, when he's on, he kind of has that back foot curveball to righties that they're just powerless against. And it felt like the Tigers did pretty well against that pitch. Like you said, they were spitting on that. I don't know if they were focusing down and in, and if it was a sinker, let it fly and try to block it to right. If it was a curveball, let it go. Framber got on a couple hot streaks when he was dropping the curve in the zone for a strike, which I feel like when we see him on, it's normally the chase there. It felt like there was innings he had and he didn't. And maybe the third pitch was a factor. He threw some changeups. I don't know if you saw this. They were registering 92, 91, and they didn't have significantly different movement than his sinker. So I don't know if that was feel or if that was being juiced up for the playoff game. But yeah, Framber, they got him in that second inning. Jake Rogers swinging 3-0. We talked, are these Tigers going to come in scared and we're facing the big bad wolf, or are we going to be us? And your 9-hitter with that clearly fake mustache swinging 3-0.
Who's he hiding from?
What's Jake Rogers? No. Man, that set a tone, and let's be honest. The show's talking baseball. How many people listening to this program have been buckling up for every game of this Tigers hot streak? We haven't been. So when you're going up and down the lineup and you see a lot of these OPS pluses and numbers like that, you don't get blown away, but they have some matchups. Andy Ibanez is going to be their versus lefty guy. They had Veerling in that leadoff spot. Our guy, Kerry Carpenter, who's the clear number 2 dog on that team, starts on the bench, and he comes in after Framber comes out. I think, I guess it was a little bit for me where I did the head tilt and a little bit of that, the old school Rays player empowerment. Like, hey, here's the deal, man. If there's a lefty out there, you're in. Go do your thing. Justin Henry Malloy had been sent down a couple times this year. He's hitting 2-hole against the lefty. So they have a formula, and they have the Cy Young winner, which helped.
Yeah, I think that's what we always talk about. Like they have this. You didn't listen to the broadcast because you were live streaming, but they kept talking about the unpredictability of the Tigers, and Hinch is going to do all these different things. I was like, guys, they also have the Triple Crown winner on the mound. Like, you can't forget that they have that ace in the hole. I think what you're talking about as far as buying in and Kerry Carpenter being on the bench and, Andy Ibanez hitting against the lefties, it's easy to do that with a young team. Like, hey, guys, this is the way it is. This is what it's going to have to be. We've spoken a lot about other teams trying to do that. My Twins. Hey, you always got to bring your Twins up. Well, they tried to do this, but it didn't work. They didn't have the right personnel for it. The Tigers right now do. And we talked about what was their formula to win this series. It was, you have to get game 1. You have to get game 1. Then another thing they kept saying on the broadcast, pitching chaos. That's what they're calling what the Tigers are doing. It's like, guys, come on. We don't got to give a name to everything.
Right.
We don't have to.
Don't they have don't they have the most basic formula? Openers. Well, I guess upcoming is going to be pitching chaos, but
yeah, so here's the thing though. Houston, I think stole a little bit of momentum back there in the ninth inning.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's important to talk about. Tigers, excellent job. They looked great, unfazed
Yeah.
in Houston. Houston has not played well at home in the postseason. But still, it's not an easy place to go play, especially with a team full of guys who have not played in the postseason, except for Matt Vierling. So this was an excellent showing for them. Uh, on the other side, Houston putting together that rally in the ninth, getting to Foley, I think is important because this is a guy that's supposed to come shut you down. He only lasted a third of an inning, 3 hits. He gave up that run. Bobrisky, I believe he walked. He walked someone, and then a great swing, a great at bat by Jason Hayward at the end. I think you steal a bit of that momentum back, saying, "Hey, we got your back end of the bullpen guys. Once we got, besides Will Vest, once we got Scuba and Will Vest out of there, like we look like we are supposed to look. I think they can kind of carry that over, but the fact is, their backs are against the wall, dude. They're 1 game away from going home.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, and it's part of where the playoffs end up being so fun is that things have to be fluid. Tigers fans, I guess, let us know in the comments. Like Foley today, did that feel different? Like what? Because the Will Vest I saw today, he saw 5 batters, he struck 4 of them out. That just has to be noted. And the thing that got scary there for Hinch, they used Tyler Holton for 2 pitches, 1 batter, and they go to Foley. The Tigers fans in the chat at the time were like, hey, are they just going to roll Holton out there because he's been so good? We've talked about him. And then he doesn't come out. Foley, then he gets in a tight spot, and Brisky bails him out kind of throwing a... His changeup was fun. His changeup, when he threw it right, had a little glitchy changeup to it. But that fastball, and this is a guy that hasn't been a closer a lot that's now trying to close down the Houston Astros. I guess you're right. I didn't like a lot of the Astros pitching.
Okay.
Like, they were losing this game. They're down 3-0. They pull Framber with 78 after he strikes out Riley Green. So, again, I know that the stat line's not super pretty, but, Framber's done for this series now. So, what could you have gotten? A couple more outs out of him, and we'll talk about that when we talk about Sevy and some different things. You're letting the Houston Astros see a Hector Neris. Let's see if he comes in a big inning. You use Hader, which, if you're going to win this thing, you now have to pitch him 3 days in theory. And then, dude, they posted the ERA leaders in the National League, and Ronel Blanco pops up as number 2, and he throws 50 bullets in this game. So, hey, maybe I look in a couple days and that helped save the bullpen, and the Astros lead him back for 2 days. But Ronel Blanco feels like a guy that could be a special weapon for this Houston team, and he might be out of the series now too.
Yeah, I don't know if he comes back. As you mentioned, 50 pitches in the game. I don't mind the moves. I think Espada was trying to just keep this game close, understanding what his offense can do, and they got the guys up at the end there. Jose Altuve waiting on deck. I really wanted to see him hit. Jason Hayward put together a really, really good at bat. He had some good takes out of bat, and then just didn't go their way. But again, I think you got to give snaps to the Tigers for coming in, feeling great. 3 base hits in a row back up the middle.
Yeah.
It's baseball porn. A lot of adult talk on this episode so far.
Yeah, good. It's late.
It is late night, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Trev, I'd have to get my research and development on it, and I don't actually do that. That's kind of Jimmy's bag. But God, it felt like there was a lot of singles up the middle and slap hits the other way and survival at bats today. And it's weird. We just call that playoff baseball. And it's maybe
we should do that.
Maybe
often.
Maybe the 2-strike A swing isn't the solution. I don't know. Good on the Tigers. Good to see some signs of life out of Houston and Big Yordan. We didn't even know if he'd be in the lineup. He gets 2 hits and
looks great.
Besides running, he was lumbering a little bit. But he can hit it so far that that's usually not an issue for him. I don't know. I guess what else do you have on this game? And I guess like a little teaser for tomorrow.
I've given all my thoughts on this
Yeah.
game. Again, I think the Tigers, this was the formula for them, and now you got Holton. He'll start, probably go 2 innings. Max, I would assume, something like that. It is going to be pitching chaos, as they call it. I can't do it. I tried. And then Hunter Brown, got to show up, man. And with the Astros, obviously, it's the quickest of leash on him. You can't get down in this game. You have to come out and try to get a lead and go from there, because this is, again, man, we're gonna say this a lot in the wild card round, especially. It's baseball. One game now.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in one game.
Yeah, I guess I'm interested by the Holton decision because, like I just said about, I don't know, Ronel Blanco, Tyler Holton's supposed to be a special weapon for them that, in theory, this is a guy who's thrown 2 innings, and I think he's thrown 40 pitches one time this year. Like, in theory, they're going to burn him tomorrow if he's the opener. So
I don't think so. I think this guy's just going.
You think he's just diffy?
I think they've done that enough this year where they understand, hey, I can pitch 3 days in a row. I can go 2 innings today. I can go 2 innings tomorrow. That's just, they've signed up for it. I mean, we've seen Bo Brisky start 2 games in a row. Like they.
Yeah, and hey, maybe it's just gonna be, maybe he's gonna have a strict get us through Tucker and Jordan. Like, don't care how good you're doing. Like, let's just get past that, because he only threw 2 pitches today, so maybe he throws 11 tomorrow, and then he's good for a game 3 if they need it. It's gonna be pitch. What would they say? Pitching chaos.
Stop.
Meanwhile, all hands and all cleats on deck for Houston tomorrow. And there was a little clip when Hayward lined out and Altuve's on deck. Altuve walks past Jordan, and Jordan just has a little smile on his face, like pressure doesn't really affect them.
Jordan honestly doesn't look like he's ever felt pressure on the
He might
baseball
not have
in his life. Yeah, it's a good trait to have.
It's interesting to think about. We will see that tomorrow. And Trev, after we get that delightful Scooble outing, which I feel like we've highlighted him enough, and seeing that unique changeup that what do you do?
Talk about seam shifted away.
Flail. I know all about that. And 2 guys that also have that, Cole Ragans, Corbin Burns. Let's get into it. The playoffs can be a cold world as Cole Ragans would lead the Royals, while Baltimore and Corbin would try to Burns down Casey's postseason dreams. More zeros on the board than the Ohtani contract. Ragans was on, and Burns maybe was better, except he got outwit by Bobby. RBI single to score Michael Garcia. It's 1-0 in the 6th. It stay that way into the 9th, and Lucas said it's over. Royals take game 1, 1-0 final.
What? This is a game, man. This game went quick.
This game went quick.
I like hearing you say Cole Ragans. There's no doubt about that.
Nobody. Yeah. Dude, hey, we take our shots at the pitchers sometimes. I mean, Tarek Skubal, Cole Ragans, and Corbin Burns.
And Ragans only came out because he had some cramps going on, because he was dominant. He looked great. Corbin Burns, if you told Orioles fans, hey, Corbin Burns is going to go 8 innings pitched, 1 earned run, they'd be like, we'll sign up for that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for them, they couldn't push anything else across. I think we mentioned stolen bases and aggressive base running, and I think that plays a huge part in postseason baseball. And that was kind of it in this game. I mean, it was Michael Garcia, right?
Yeah.
Big stolen base.
Yeah. former leadoff hitter that got moved down the lineup because he, struggled after a decent start.
For a while, that was like, dude, James McCann, like you're kind of like zooing this game. I mean, no offense, but here, okay, and maybe I'm lost here, but they get a runner on second base, nobody out, and they don't bunt him over in the third inning. Ends up striking out. Then he comes up with runners on second and third with one out, and he ends up striking out. I mean, that's the difference in this game. Bobby Witt Jr. gets a hit with runners in scoring position. They were 1 for 3 with runners in scoring position. They got the job done. That's what the Royals have done all season long. It is, if they get somebody on, Bobby, Sal, or Vinny is driving him in. That is it, dude. And he goes out and gets an 0-0 cutter. That's a pitch that you pull that pitch a majority of the time, that's not good. You're going to roll that thing over to the third baseman or the shortstop. He extends, gets the barrel on it just enough, gets it through there, but it's all set up by the stolen base, which, James McCann, I think you have to talk about Corbin Burns as well, because people have been getting huge leads against him all year long. That's been like the story, and they've been able to steal on him. So I can't put it all on McCann, but that was the difference in the game, essentially. Stolen base. They got
Bobby.
Maikel Garcia got he threw out Bobby Witt, which is great.
Yeah,
that was awesome. But then Maikel Garcia, he delayed stealed in the ninth. That was cool. You don't see that too often.
Delayed steal, man.
It was great.
Man, it
was a lefty up, couple hops. Gunnar didn't cover right away. Adley didn't see him right away. I think Adley was catching at that point. This is what the Royals have to do. They have to be aggressive on the base pass. They have to steal, and then they have to get those timely hits. And they got the pitching performances today. But that was the difference in the game, essentially.
Couple things. Vinny Pasquantino, the last time we talked, we didn't know if he would be in the roster, on the lineup. There he is hitting third DHing, which, hey, he had the one walk today, and he had a couple okay swings, but the boost that must provide to the fellas in general, no way to measure that. We also saw a couple welcome to the new Camden Yards balls today.
Yeah.
Big Sal hits one that I think would have been a homer in 18 or 19 out of 30 parks.
19 parks. Yep.
And then who got it for the Orioles? Was
Westberg.
Westberg. That was 28.
Every park except for Camden and Pittsburgh, I think they said.
And man, I realize there's beauty in different baseball parks, and we could do this for so many different games and swings. Both of those felt like homers. I don't know. I know that's unfair to do to both sides, but that's what that ballpark is now.
Yeah, and maybe I'm going a little bit hindsight 2020 with the McCann not bunting in the bottom of the third. I mean, Cedric leads off with a double. You're trying to have a big inning. I know that the numbers don't want you to bunt there, but I just think in a playoff situation, like let's get the lead. Like, go get the lead.
I mean, what do the numbers say when you get a lead in a playoff game? They say good things.
Vibes, numbers. Vibes are good when you have the lead.
That's our front office.
Yeah.
Although,
hit us up if you want us to run your team.
Brewers fans saying, "Hold my beer." What else from this one? We Royals bullpen, which as a unit hasn't had the most impressive year, but when we talked about shortening it, Urseg has been great since the trade deadline, and we saw him throw some big boy pitches today and get a nice call in the Adley at bat for strike 3, which sure, if you want to play that game, you can. Adley also took a 2-0 fastball kind of down the middle. So it's, sometimes you create your own luck. But Long and Bubic, man, they have lefty options they can come at you with. We haven't seen how they're going to use Brady Singer yet, but I mean, this was the Royals winning a 1-0 game. I don't know.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot to this game. I mean, the Orioles bats, I guess, didn't show up or got Cole Reagans, whichever way you want to slice it. I mean, they didn't show up.
How worried? Because I mean, for the Astros and Tigers series, we said Tigers kind of need to take game one. If Houston won game one, especially if they did it in dramatic fashion in the ninth, the Tigers' obituary would have been written. See you later, kittens. It's over. Now the door's open over there. For Royals, Baltimore has now lost 4 straight playoff games.
I believe
with this group, like the only 4 playoff games this group has played. They got swept by Texas last year. They lose this game 1-0. Corbin Burns, literally their ace in the hole. How worried are you for Baltimore?
I mean, again, it's a wild card round. You lose one more game, you're gone. I'm pretty worried. It's not, it's not a guarantee that the bats are going to show up tomorrow. Now, I think, a couple of their left-handed bats are going to be a little bit more happy tomorrow when Cole Reagans isn't in there. So that's going to help out, I would assume, with the offense. I think they have to be more understanding of have a sense of urgency, and maybe throw down that bunt with your number 9 hitter to get the first run.
Yeah, and hey,
you know what I mean? Like, I just think you have to play. All these managers talk about sense of urgency, and these games are different because it's win or go home, and I think you have to approach it like that. They're going to have to obviously do that tomorrow. I kind of wish they would approach it like that today.
Well, and that's where McCann catches a lot of Corbin Burns games. So if you're a personal catcher person or not a personal catcher person, that those at bats, like you talk about, those get magnified, especially this time of year when you have guys like O'Hearn and Kjerstad, who, again, against a lefty, maybe it's not them, but you would have a different body out there. And man, here's what I'll say, Orioles fans, if you know, let us know. Just being around the game closer for the past 5 years now, 7 years, whatever. Like, something's got to be up with Adley, right? Because, like, how can you be that guy and have the numbers be that tough? And I don't know. Like, again, who knows? There's a lot of stuff that goes into this game, but even the numbers versus lefties, which on the year look good, even during his second half, they're not where they should be with Adley. Yeah. That coming out to this game, that's tough.
You have to have your guys step up in these situations. I mean, that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter if you're slumping or not. Like, you got to find a way to get it done. So I agree. I mean, Gunner's got to do a better job tomorrow. Adley's got to do a better job tomorrow. Santander's got to do a better job tomorrow. This is it, dude.
Yeah.
One game for the rest of your life.
Man, there'll be some pressure. Seth,
there's no guarantees that you're ever going to get back to the postseason. So that is the truth. You think this group is going to be at the start of their window, and there's going to be this massive window?
Dude,
that's the White Sox what happened.
It's Cease, Giolito, Lynn, Kopech. Like, these guys are stacked. Seth Lugo versus Zach Eflin tomorrow. That's I know we're trying to bring the aces back in base. If you're you're a talking baseball person, yeah.
That's why I think this series is a little bit different than the Houston and the Detroit. I don't necessarily, although isn't the stat that every team that's won the first game has won the wild card round since it's been 3 games?
So when they include the 2020 season where they technically did this format, I think it's 14 out of 16. Okay. But yes, in the past 2 years, we're 8 for 8. If you win game 1, you win the series. So I'd like to think that trend will get bucked at some point by baseball, but maybe we're finding out that pressure is real because those baby Orioles, man, they're going to be feeling a different pressure than they felt. And if the Royals put up something early, like
the difference. Yeah. I think you can relate this to anything in life, but specifically sports. I mean, the difference in understanding that you can just play loose and one mistake isn't going to end your season. Like, the Royals are going to be able to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, it's easier. You're more confident. Everything's more fluid. When one mistake can literally send you home.
Yeah.
And the season is all over. I mean, things get tight, Jake. I know you know what thing gets tight, but that's a different type of baseball to play. And some people thrive with that.
Right.
And some people don't. And we're going to find out tomorrow.
Before we get into the next to the National League, Brought to you by Mova Globes. I've got a Mova Globe at my desk here. I've got the Yankees Mova Globe. The perfect gift. If you're a baseball person or you know a baseball person, which let me guess,
Yes.
listening to Talking Baseball, have my lean on that. They've got all the playoff teams, all 30 teams available coming up for the holidays. It's the perfect gift. Like, dad or mom's got the office space. And I don't know, Trev, you and I...
Doesn't have to be in your office.
I like to
It's
think
nice anywhere.
it could be anywhere. We're deep thinkers. Sometimes you just see this thing spinning on its own and you're like, okay. So what's really going on here?
What is going on? Is it magnets? I don't know.
Nobody knows for sure, but I do know you can enjoy 10% off all officially licensed MLB Mova Globes when you use code TALKB10. TALKB10. Go order your Mova Globes now with the link in the description. There's pretty cool. If you have some other questions, you could DM BBD. There's something we've been doing that's cool with the Mova Globes in the office that I don't know if they want us to share. So DM BBD.
Hey, what?
Yeah. It's kind of gnarly.
It's awesome,
It's
dude.
basically like a magic trick.
It's
but
really cool.
I don't think it's the intended use.
I want to hear after the show.
Let's do, God, Brewers Mets. Woo! Have you ever seen a Sevy with the butterfly doors? Sevy with the butterfly doors. Pitching is a habit as the Miracle Mets would take on the Brewers, who were pushing P with Pat Murphy and Freddie Peralta. Bartender, give me two. Hit by pitch. Scores a run, but they let Sevy off the hook in the first with 2 runs. And then Scooter Gang. Jesse Winker with the 2-run triple down the line with a Marte sac fly. It's 3-2 Mets. Underage drinking is very bad. Chirrillo ties it, and Contreras takes the lead back. 4-3 Crew in the 4th. Oh my God. Pitchers, please cover first base. Run scores. Then the young calf in the old bull. Vientos and JD Martinez. That might be a funny box score one day. It's 8-4 Mets in the 5th. Sevy with 2 more innings. Huge for the Mets bullpen. Jose shoves it up their butto, and Ryan does the Stanek leg. Mets take game 1. 8-4 final.
This was a lot.
Trev, this is a lot. You go.
Reminder, your team could have had JD Martinez.
Yeah, sure could have.
And they can next year, too.
They can next year.
Or
About
about-
13 mil.
12, 13, yeah.
As long as your right field has a nice little wind tunnel, Cleveland Guardians.
Next year.
If you're in a park that accommodates him,
He's going to Cleveland. You know he is. Oh, thank you for renovating your stadium to fit my swing perfectly. I'll take $13 million.
$10.5 million incentives for every 50 at bats after 200. Done. Done.
This was great. I mean, look, I like both of these teams. They're so fun to watch, especially the way the Mets are playing now. Because they kind of have everything going for them, and they're playing aggressive. They matched, I think, the Brewers' aggressiveness, which is dude, the Brewers came out trying to punch them in the face. I mean, 8 batters to the plate in the first inning against Sevy. Terang, right off the bat, hits a double, and then I'm not sure why Lindor was like holding him on so close.
Yeah.
I understand this guy steals bases a lot. But then, because he has to hold him on, because they have this team speed. Next guy grounds, I think it was Chirrillo right through the hole at shortstop, a ball that Lindor usually would get to. It just, I don't know, man. Like, it seemed like it was all going to be Brewers. Severino has the history of the shaky starts in the playoffs, and he gets 8 batters through. How many runs they score in the first inning? Scored 2 runs in the first inning, and then the Mets come back and answer. And that was kind of, I don't want to say that's what the Mets have been doing all season long, but I mean, this is how you have their record. This is how you get into the playoffs. This is how you win series. This is how you win playoff series, is answering, man. It just takes the life out of the other team. Score 2 in the bottom of the first for the Brewers. They score 3 in the top of the second. Score 2 more to take the lead in the bottom of the fourth. Hey, we're going to score 5 in the fifth. And it just takes the life out of you. And I think that fifth inning was interesting. We could talk about Freddie Peralta. It was wild. Talk about Freddie Peralta. Piamps comes in, almost gives up a homer. Trio robs it. Then he kind of zoos another one. And then the biggest play of the game was him not covering the base. The inning's over. Hoskins makes an incredible play. An incredible play on a very tough hop. Perfect feed. And then he doesn't even have the wherewithal to turn around and say, hey, there's a runner going home right now. What's he doing? That's PFP 101. You do it a million times in spring training. Get the ball. If you don't get the out, or if it's less than 2 outs, you got to check home. That is incredible. And we talk so much about, by the way, nice hustle by Jose Iglesias. Yeah. We talk so much about the Brewers defense. And they're great defensively, but you just forget, like, sometimes pitchers have to field the ball too. And that was, I mean, dude, they don't like to field the ball. They don't remember to cover first base. It's why I get upset with them all the time. That was it, man. I mean, you make that play, the game is completely different.
I mean, some weird baseball poetry with the Mets season almost ending on Edwin Diaz not covering the day before. Yes. And then for Iglesias to beat that out, and tough at bats after that. Again,
dude,
like
so many good at bats.
This game,
we skipped over the Winker at bat. Like
how many opposite field hits were in this game of guys just battling up there? That I really think there's going to be a team in 3 years that has a light bulb idea of having a 2-strike approach, and that team might be playing right now, and they might be called San Diego. But yeah, man, I hope the good people of Milwaukee know this is genuine, because sure, Jolly Olive's here. He's a big Mets fan, and I'm of the New York. Like I root for the Mets as long as they're not playing the Yankees. Like, it's good for the town, whatever. The Brewers have also been a really cool organization to us. We did a sausage race there. Sausage went down today, reminiscent of the John Boy incident. I think the Brewers have had 2+ run leads in their last 4 playoff games and have lost them. I don't wish that upon anyone. That's
no.
And an organization that prides themselves on pitching and defense.
I honestly think this was, if you're a fan of the intricacies of baseball, this was a great game to watch. I mean, there was a lot of aggressive base running. I'm kind of backtracking now because I'm just trying to check all the boxes. I got these notes, people. Let me talk about them, okay? Trio gets a big hit with runners on first and second to tie the game, and then realizes, hey, no one's at second base, and just takes off the second base. And this 20-year-old kid, man, in the playoffs, and all these things are happening. You just get this big knock, but then you keep the focus enough to take that extra base. And we just saw that from both teams. We saw aggressive base running, taking the extra base. We saw great 2-strike hitting. We saw great ABs. We saw using the opposite field. Like, this was a clinic and just like classic great baseball. It really was, man. Like, it was very fun to watch. Like, Mark Vientos, I believe it was against Ashby. Yeah, here, watch Trio right here. He gets the knock. First to third, aggressive. Okay. Who's at second base? Nobody. So I'm going to go there. Incredible stuff right there. That's just an extra 90 feet, especially in a series like this. I mean, it means everything. And we saw both. I don't know. We just saw both teams. I thought that both teams played great. Obviously, the Brewers are on the short end of the stick here.
Hey, horribly rude. Managers, we don't judge all year, and then we say we do. Freddie Peralta after 68 pitches, man, I don't know. Hey, maybe, again, with this bullpen that has been so good all year, if they had gone 5 clean, that they've done a lot, we'd be saying, look at this. Pat Murphy goes to the pen. They're dominant against the Mets. They hold on. Not a lot of managers would have gone to their pen there. Freddie Peralta's your guy. 68 pitches, Trev. I don't know. I like to think I'm not playing devil's advocate. And I think I can say that because when this was happening, I was like, I was asking if Peralta got hurt or something.
Yeah, there was really no signs of him like laboring. And Murphy, he talked about it a bunch. He talked about it after the game. I guess he didn't realize that he retired 9 in a row. He's like, he didn't retire 9 in a row. He's like, oh wait, yeah, he did. Okay. Yeah. I go back and forth on this one. I'd rather see the guy go out there. This is your ace. On the same, same thought process. I don't know what I'm trying to say. The Brewers have done this all year long, man. Like they've relied on their bullpen. They've relied on these guys. And if Murphy said, hey, we're going to continue to do that, you can't fault a guy for doing what's been successful for him all season long, even if it is with your ace and, whatever. It's what they've done. It backfired. It doesn't look good now. So we can all question it.
Right.
And we can say that you should have kept the guy in, but this is who the Brewers have been. They have been a team that has used their bullpen and used it a lot, and it's made them very successful. And I think maybe he was a little bit too aggressive there. I think that's okay to say that. But I'm not. I don't think I'm going to sit here and get on him because he's seen it work so many times this year.
Yeah, I don't know. These short series are weird because it's also like, are you exposing your bullpen? Aaron Savali comes in, throws 3 innings in this game, 35 pitches, and he was a guy people thought might start game 2, so he's out for game 2, I would guess, but with 35 pitches, he might be there for game 3 if there's a game 3.
I believe Montas is starting tomorrow, not even Tobias, which is an interesting decision. Again, like obviously you lose game 1. Short leash. Basically, is there such thing as no leash and just like grab him by the collar? I mean, that's what's happening tomorrow.
Everyone's got their cleats on. Yeah, someone probably thrown in the Brewers pen early. Hey,
6'2", 215 for Aaron Savali. I'm not sure if that matches up.
Trev,
I'd add a few LBs. I'm just saying.
I don't judge men like that.
I do.
I said a couple things on the stream that I regretted. The sieve.
What'd you say?
The sieve came in looking meaty. That uniform was not helping him. That uniform was not helping him. And hey, I've had.
Is Tommy Hunter on a playoff team?
I think so. I think he's on. I think he gets one.
Jesse
AL,
Chavez
I think he's wearing a Savali.
He gets one AL team. He gets one NL team. You mentioned the Winker dude. The Mets are fun because they've got kids, they've got veterans, they've got stars, they've got all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And, hey, those 2 innings by Sevy, after they threw up a 5 spot, Edwin Diaz is out of this game. Phil Maton is out of this game. And, hey, Jose Budo. Again, another one of these relievers that came in for 2 innings today and was dominant in a time of the game that you needed it. Going to be a fun one tomorrow. Sean Manaea from that new arm slot, who's been so good against Frankie Montas. Vegas has it literally as a pick'em. That's going to be a fun one. I think that's the game we're streaming tomorrow. Charlie Olive, man. King of the world. It's Charlie's year.
It is Charlie's year. Freaking guy.
We got one more to cover. It's brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. Hey, a couple of these teams are going to know where they're going soon, and go with them. We did have a brief laugh, and Atlanta fans, this isn't targeted, but the Padres fans were filled with Padres fans, and that's because Atlanta didn't know where they were going until 9 p.m. last night. But even with that on Booking.com, you could book the place you want. Hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, whatever you're looking for this postseason. Go see your team. Get on the road. Be a road dog for your team. That's a good way. They homer. They see you in the stands, the only one cheering. Might point at you. Booking.com. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com. Download using the Booking.com app. Click that link. San Diego. Atlanta and A.J. Smith-Shawver would have to be brave like the Braves to overcome the odds against my king, Mike King, and the San Diego Daddies. Bottom one, Fernando spins on a 2-run homer to light the lamp for the San Diego crowd. Higgy Smalls is sicker than your average. Sack fly is underrated for the Higster. It's 3-0 after 2. But the story of this game, the sweepy made them sleepy. Put the K in King 12 times, 7 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts. And how about the insurance in the 8th? Higashioka, the home run stroker. Padres get it done. They win 4-0 final.
Can I go backtrack?
Sure.
Brewer Crew, you mentioned like the first team in history to surrender a multi-run lead and lose in 4 consecutive postseason contests. Also 1-10 in the last 11 postseason games. Those are Minnesota Twins numbers.
Hey, man,
Let's move on.
I admit there's something to day in, day out baseball, and there's a ball down the line, and a ball or strike gets called, and things can get altered. It's Milwaukee fans are now expecting bad things to happen, and that's a really bad feeling. Atlanta Braves fans kind of knew something bad was going to happen today. I mean, dude, talk about getting dealt a tough card. Your 2 best bullpen options both threw twice yesterday, and I think they pitched the day before that. Your Cy Young winner, who was supposed to be your ace in the hole, he's out indefinitely. That you're calling up the kid, 21-year-old A.J. Smith-Shawver? It's one I struggle with. And with very limited pitching options, Fernando gets the big swing in the first that Trev, you have any that felt like that? Because that looked like backyard stuff, man.
It felt, I mean, this is no shots fired at our guy Smith-Shawver. It felt like Fernando was playing against someone that he's way better than. I don't know, man. You don't take a swing like that. I mean, obviously he was looking to jump on that pitch, and he jumped on that pitch. That was I took notes for all the rest of the games. I didn't take any notes on this game because there wasn't really anything to take notes on, Jake. It was this team, the Braves are beat up, man. And Michael King was on. You get to the early lead. Look, I guess, hey, they did a great job shutting down San Diego the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But they couldn't push anything across. I mean, Michael King was absolutely filthy. I said the Yankees got fleeced. That's what Michael King said that in the New York Post after he got traded.
I don't think the word fleeced was said.
Oh, he didn't say that? Oh.
I don't think he said fleece, but he said the number of bodies going over. He was a little surprised by.
Oh, relax, bro. It was just a dominant victory. It seems like it's going to be a dominant series for them. I will say, seeing Ozzy Albies have to hit right-handed against a guy throwing across his body like that, he had no chance, dude. He had no chance. It was, and he hit against Edwin Diaz, dude.
Yeah,
he freaking stayed in there. But Michael King is so funky.
Yeah,
he starts on the first base side, steps behind a right-handed hitter, throws across his body, and Ozzy Albies doesn't see that very often. And it looked like it today. And he's, an X factor for me on the Braves, especially with the kind of depleted lineup that they have right now. I expect him to be better tomorrow, but I think that was kind of something that stood out to me. Was like, man, how hard is that for a guy to just like have to turn around and then all of a sudden, you're facing a guy thrown across his body. It was tough.
Hey, I don't think anyone has, but don't question the dog in the fight of that guy. Hitting righty against pro pitching for the first time, or probably loosely for the first time, because it hurts to swing from the left side. And here he is against Mike King, who over Dylan Cease and Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish.
He was filthy.
He is filthy. And that's, I think when the trade came out, like, Yankee fans were kind of like, yo, we know we're getting Juan Soto, and he's generational. But, God, and Jimmy, during our live stream today, Jimmy was like, they better sign Soto because Mike King, he's that guy. And normally
he reminds me of Corey Kluber a little bit.
He learned his breaking ball from Corey Kluber. And it's another reason it's funny you say that, otherwise than he learned it from him. I was just going to say guys that throw from Mike King's kind of, it's cross body, but it's downhill that, like, I feel like their slider or sweeper is normally almost telegraphed a little more. His X-axis,
it's nasty.
You're guessing, and he's got a change to go with it. He'll throw a different fastball sometimes. He is the real deal. Padre fans know he was dominant. I was going to say down the stretch, but like his last 20 starts. And yeah, he showed on the national stage tonight against obviously a Braves lineup up against it, but 7 innings shut, 0 walks, 5 hits, 12 strikeouts. That's special stuff. And yeah, I thought the Braves, they really only had one chance, I think in the 8th against Adam. If they got another runner on it, Marcel was up, and like they could have made it a scare, but that dude,
he ends up striking out 3 dudes.
Yeah.
So I mean, here's the thing for the Braves.
Sure.
They had choices to make about who was going to start this game. They go with AJ. Doesn't really work out. Gets tagged 1 in the 3rd innings. Sack fly by Higgy, homer by Tatis,
Fernando.
and they bring in the rest of the guys. Bummer. Chavez, we knew would be throwing some meaningful innings. Do you think they're thinking now, like, man, if we just maybe went with somebody else that's kind of like, been in the big leagues, instead of bringing somebody up for this crazy game and a crazy atmosphere? Like, that's the only thing I think about. And again, this guy, he's pitching in the big leagues. I think he didn't look frazzled. But like, think about how difficult that is.
It's near impossible. And again, we didn't have the audio on. It sounded like Eduardo was trying to say he was tipping. They kept showing a freeze frame of his fastball and his changeup. I didn't really see that. Maybe they were just trying to show off his grip. Again, I couldn't hear it, but the way he was talking, I don't know, Trev. I feel like this is an unpopular thing to say, but like the Atlanta Braves hoped they could win this game, but they knew there was a good chance they were going to lose this game. Their pitching options were 3 non-major leaguers for them, and half of their bullpen was out. Like, with a chunk of their lineup out,
Yeah, I agree. They're behind the 8 ball, and like that's why I was saying, like, how come we're not trying to push these guys to go on shorter rest? I mean, this is the season.
Well, I think the season's tomorrow. I think it's Max Fried.
And maybe Max Fried is like, hey man, like I'm trying to get paid, and I don't know if there was discussions about that. Like, hey, I'm not going to go on short rest. I don't think so. I don't think Max would ever say anything like that. But
no, I think again,
maybe as an organization, they're just trying not to do that to him. I don't know, man.
We're all figuring out that. Okay, dude, how about this? Max Fried goes on short rest. He throws 6 shut. Nice, Max. We love you.
Straight to Jesse Chavez. There's your formula.
Hey, man, I like.
What did he go today?
I like
2 innings, no hits, no walks.
I like Jesse C. Up down 3-0, him just throwing cutters a little more off the plate. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Braves came in and they said, "Hey, boys, go bop. We'll try to figure out the pitching. If you don't bop, whatever." Mike King wasn't letting anyone bop today. And then it's Max Fried, Joe Musgrove, go win a game, run into a ball, get runners on for Marcel or Olsen or Soler or Harris or Albies. And then if we've got it, let's find a way to hold it. And then for one baseball game, that's when, I think Charlie Morton would be on short rest. That's when it's all hands on deck. Like, if they went all hands on deck today and lost, I think you would have watched the saddest baseball game ever tomorrow.
I felt like this was kind of a sad baseball game.
It was a little bit. Not for the people of San Diego. They had a blast.
I mean, essentially it was 3-0. Higgy hits the homer in the bottom of the 8th to make it 4-0. That's a pretty close baseball game, but it didn't feel like it was close, like ever.
Like, I was even playing through if Ozuna went yard there to make it 3-2, and I was like, I don't. Like, you would have seen a lot of Braves swinging for that solo homer to tie it, but I don't know. Hey, Braves fan, if you think this is crazy far off, let me know, but I don't think you do. Fried versus Musgrove tomorrow. That's a pretty fun one. Along with that Lugo Eflin matchup. Can't get me all jazzed up. I don't know, Trev, anything else you need to get off before it's baseball today time? You're different.
Yeah, I'll be recording with Chris Rose right after this. But yeah, look, we're going to do this again tomorrow, man. 4 games. We'll be back on the sticks right afterwards. Hopefully everyone's following along. And I hope we get some game 3s.
How many games? I was just going to say, how many game 3s did you say we were going to have on Thursday?
What did I say? I don't know.
I don't know. that was the trick.
If you're asking me what I think's going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the Padres sweep. I just think there's too much momentum. I feel like the Mets sweep. Like, Manaya's nasty, dude. Manaya is nasty, and they're hitting the ball, and they just seem like they're that team. So I'm going Padres. Mets are going to take it.
You'd think Houston would fight back.
I think the Orioles and Houston both win their games. So they would have 2 games on game 3, both in the AL.
Yeah, I mean, we did this with our picks, and maybe this is why I'm doing it. I'll swap Royals and Brewers with you. I think.
Okay.
I think Royals just get it done. I think there's a lot of pressure.
Dude, the Orioles look lifeless. Like, they got to flip the script.
We'll find out tomorrow. We're live streaming. I think we start at 7 for the Mets game. If it starts at 7, and we should be recording this after again. So, thank you guys. Go baseball. Oh, you would have been so good in the postseason.
Oh my gosh.
Chick sucks.
Justin Turner was on Twitter today, just like yelling at some guy from Driveline. It was a great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, who literally threw the bat today? Was that Urias? Someone actually threw his bat and hit it. I don't know, man. In playoff baseball, hit the ball.